Good morning, class. Today we are going to study about the precedence and the associativity of the operators. It is a continuation of the fourth chapter and the last topics that we haven't seen in the previous classes. So we are going to just complete this chapter today. So this, what do you mean by precedence of the operators? Okay. Now in an expression we have got so many operator symbol that we use it in the expression. So there are number of them. They are used in one expression. So it is to decide whether which operator symbol part has to be solved first or evaluated first. So there are the procedure that we follow, that is precedence and the associativity. What is a precedence? Precedence of the operator is a priority that we give to particular expression. Now suppose in the expression we use all this operator symbol. Now what is also precedence? There are the order. Now suppose there are these three things that is used in the one expression, then the first part is you have to solve this bracket. Okay, that is array index. Then you will be solving the other one, then this. So it is just like in maths BODMAS rule how we follow. So there are some operators that has to be solved first in the expression. So that process, the priority that we give it to that particular precedence operators, that is called as precedence. Okay, the evaluation, the priority that we give to a particular operator according to the expression, that is called as precedence. And what is associativity? The associativity is the priority that is given to the precedence if it is having the same kind of precedence symbols that we use. It will either be solved from the left to right or right to left. Now suppose there are two three similar ways. Suppose we are using plus 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 in one expression, there are two times that we are using. If we are using two times, then it has to be solved from right to left. And if we are using so many times, there are so many expression in expression we are using these operators, then we have to solve it from left to right. This is about the associativity and the precedence of the operator. Now next is your next topic is your new operator. What is a new operator? So it is basically used to create the object. Okay, now object, this new operator is used to create a memory in the it is used to create a space in the memory. Okay, so if you have to create a new object, then you have to use this keyword that is called as new. Okay, so new is nothing but it is a operator. It is a operator that is used to allocate the memory in a dynamic memory. Okay, then there are so many examples that is given in your textbook. You can just go through this. In this topic you just have to know what is the syntax. Okay, this is the syntax. If you see, this is the syntax that is given. What is the syntax? And please learn this syntax. And the other one is your dot operator. After you create the object, okay, after you create the object, how we can invoke it? Now what is the meaning of invoking? Invoking is to assign the object, okay, the new object that you have created. Now here the example that is given. Now suppose the class name is mobile and your object name is my iPhone X, and the what you are creating a new object. Okay, this is the object that we are creating. Okay, now this object has to be used. What you are giving a value to this object, you wanted to store our data in it. So what is the storing of the data that we wanted to store? That is gold. So here what is the object? My iPhone X. Okay, so my iPhone X dot color. So what is the color you are giving? Gold. What is the model you are giving? A7. What is the weight you are giving? 145. Okay, so this is how we are creating three different types of object. Now one object also you can have number of the data that you can insert it. Now why do we create this object? Okay, it reduces the space. In a small space, how we can store multiple data in it? Okay, this is one of the method how we can store multiple data in it. So this is how we are creating the object. Now the dot operator is nothing but dot operator is a operator that is used for invoking the object. You can just give this simple definition. I will be sending you the notes. You can see the notes even. So this is about the dot operator. So dot operator is very important when you create the object. Next is your type conversions. Now type conversions are the value related data. Okay, now this implicit and explicit, there are two types of type conversion where we are going to convert the data types. By now you know what is a data type is. there are two types of type conversion, implicit and explicit. Now let us see the first one, that is implicit. Now implicit, which are automatically performed by the Java compiler, means which can be, you don't have to worry how it has to be converted. You can see these are the data type that we have it, that is double, float, long, int. They are all called as data type. Now there are other names that are also called as implicit. Okay, so you can just go through this name, that is automatic type conversion, type promotion, winding conversion, or creation. Now these are the terms that is used for implicit. If suppose you get a question that it is asking you to define what is creation, that's when it is talking about the implicit conversion. Okay, so please do not get confused when you get a question like that. It is to define the implicit conversion. And so how exactly what does it mean? We will just see a simple example that is given here, how the conversions are done. Now you can see here there is a two numbers that is given. Now suppose a result, it is having two variables, that is long number and int number. Now according to the data type, which has got the larger value, there are two types. This is how it will be converting in the computer. Okay, you don't have to worry about it, it will be converted automatically. As we said, that implicit is a automatic conversion. So here it is long and here it is int. So when the compiler is compiling it, okay, it will convert it. Now long and int, which has got more size, okay, which has got the larger size, long is having the larger size, so automatically this int will be converted to long. So finally the output will be given, the result, my result value will be given in the form of long. So this is how it will be converted. There is another example here with the int, character, float, and double. So what it will do, first it will check from your left hand side which has got the larger value. So out of this float and double has got the larger value. Okay, so now this becomes double. Then comes your float and character. Out of float and character, which has the larger value, that is double. Then again the value will, instead of converting to character, it will be converted to double. And then again for the int and double, out of int and double has the larger value. So finally for this expression, okay, for this expression the value will be converted to, my result value will be converted to double, rather than it will be converted to int, character, float, and double. It will not be converting this three data type, but it will be converted to double. So this is how the conversions are done in the implicit. And explicit is a forceful conversion. Okay, explicit is a forceful conversion in the sense, suppose the expression is given like this. This kind of conversions are called as explicit conversion, where the user is forcefully converting. Now here int a is equals to, suppose the value is given 19. Now but here the value is given in the decimal point, so it is a floating point value. 19.75, it is a floating point value. So this floating point value, you ultimately you wanted it to be converted to int. So this is how we express. Okay, this is how the expressions are done in the explicit. Okay, so where we are forcing by ourselves, but in this case if you see, we are not forcing it, we are just giving the different data types, but the conversions are done automatically. But when in the bracket, if you mention it, suppose if you are writing it double here, the value will be converted to double. If you are writing it here float, the value will be converted to float. Okay, so this is how the conversions are done. If you see the example, next example here, it is float a is equal to 76.89f. So this is a floating point value. And b, now b value, you wanted a value to be converted to integer. So what is the answer for this? Now here it is a floating point decimal point value. In int, what is the value? It will just display 76. Now what is the output value? You will see here the floating output value, that now here the b value will be converted to 76. It will not take the value that is present after the decimal point. It will take only the first part, because what a value has to be in, it has to be in integer. So what is the integer value? Integer numbers are the numbers without the decimal point. So which is the number without the decimal point? That is 76. So this 76 is the answer for the b. So this is how we do the conversion based on the explicit. Okay, so this is the differentials between explicit and implicit. So there are a number of subjective questions that is there in your textbook, so please go through all these types of questions. It will be easy for you to learn. And let me see if any explicit, okay, yeah, if you can see here there are explicit question that is given here. Now you have to find it out. What are the types of casting here? We have as we have learned, there are two types of casting, explicit and implicit. Now in this two question you have to tell me which is the implicit and which is the explicit. Now if you see, just now we have seen that first part is what, in explicit, because here you can see this, it is used within the bracket that the first value is in double, but here the user is forcing it to be converted to integer. So this kind of expression is called as what, explicit. Now but here you can see int x equals to 12 and long y equals to x. That's mean this integer value will be converted to long, so it becomes what, implicit. Okay, so this is how you get the quotient based on explicit and implicit. And that's all about this chapter. Please go through all the subjective question that is there in your textbook and practice the questions that is there. Okay.